Remembering Pope John Paul II, leaders from around the world joined millions to pay tribute to the Pope in the biggest funeral mass of our time. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Laura Garcia Cannon.
And I'm Brent Cannon. Security was tight as more than 4 million people gathered throughout Rome for this morning's funeral for Pope John Paul II. The ceremony was the largest in modern history. Hundreds of dignitaries, presidents, and pilgrims convened at St. Peter's Square. NBC 11's Jay Gray live in Vatican City with more on this moving tribute and this historic day today. Jay?
Well, it's been an amazing day in Vatican City, Brent, and really all of Rome. We've seen people pouring into St. Peter's Square to pay their affections. Everything from 4 kings, 5 queens, more than 70 presidents, all here to say a final goodbye.
I think this is just history to being here now. It's hard to say why we do it, but we know why we do it. You know, we feel it.
There's no other place to be than in Rome today.
And so they traveled here, from kings to presidents to the common man. Millions kneeled one final time before Pope John Paul II. The solemn funeral mass was filled with emotion. First, as the simple wooden coffin was laid along the steps in St. Peter's Square. Next, a spontaneous chant for 5 full minutes, Santo, Santo, their desire for John Paul to ultimately become a saint. And perhaps the most touching moment was as pallbearers made the slow walk from St. Peter's Square to his final resting place in the grotto beneath the basilica. There was a short pause and a tilt of his coffin, as if John Paul was saying his final goodbye. For hundreds of thousands, the emotions were too intense to contain. An amazing end to one man's journey of faith that touched so many.
I've been following him for a long time, and I had to come say goodbye.
Santa Maria.
Devotion and admiration fitting for perhaps only John Paul II, the Pope of the people. And so now the College of Cardinals must begin their overwhelming task of electing the new man who will lead their church, knowing full well that the entire world is watching and will be comparing this next pope to one of the most beloved of all time. In Vatican City, Jay Gray, NBC 11 News.
Through television, people from across the country were able to unite to watch the Pope's funeral. NBC 11's Tracy Potts reports on the masses watching the solemn ceremony.
Even from thousands of miles away, it was an emotional experience. For a lifetime, they had John Paul. Today, they have each other.
I wanted to share it with my friends.
In Chicago, Irene Habina held photos, remembering when she met the Pope at this church nearly 2 decades ago. Inside, mourners lit candles to honor his memory.
And my whole family is very sad.
Across the U.S., the crowds were not nearly as large as in Rome, but just as reverent. At a seminary in Philadelphia, students, hoping one day to follow in the Pope's footsteps, stood for several minutes in applause when the Mass was over. They watched at a high school in Fairfax, Virginia, an apartment complex in Atlanta, an auditorium in Orlando, a college in San Antonio.
The Pope is very important to the students here. He loved students and loved young people.
Many mourners lost sleep to see this Mass live. It was 1 a.m. in Los Angeles.
Everybody was saying to me, oh, I could sit home and watch it in my PJs. And I said, but you can't feel the synergy of the connection.
In Buffalo, the faithful celebrated Mass as John Paul's body was laid to rest and as America said goodbye. The funeral Mass is scheduled to be rebroadcast continuously over the weekend at the Pope John Paul II Cultural Center here in Washington. In Washington, I'm Tracy Potts, NBC 11 News.
Now, the Pope's funeral took place very early this morning, just after midnight Pacific time. NBC 11's Bob Riddell joins us now with the story of one Bay Area family with a special connection to the Pope. They stayed up to watch it live. Bob?
Well, good morning, Brent. We're talking about the Grabda family from the East Bay. They, as you mentioned, have a very personal connection. They, too, come from the Pope's hometown of Krakow, Poland, among other things.
A 17-year-old high school student pulling an all-nighter, and it's not for a test.
If it was anybody else, I'd be like, I'm tired. I want to go to sleep.
Early this morning, Sebastian Grabda of San Lorenzo didn't rest until he and his father were able to say goodbye to another father figure. Both men stayed up in the middle of the night to watch the Pope's funeral live on TV.
It's very, very emotional for us.
The Grabdas feel connected to Pope John Paul, not just because the Pope baptized Sebastian's cousin, not just because the Pope used to work on land near his family's property in Poland, but because the Pope was one senior citizen who knew how to relate to young people.
He was a lot like them. He swung his cane around. He was in touch with their feelings. He really cared about them. This Pope was all over the place. He talked to everybody, and he always kissed the children. He always picked them up and hugged them and kissed them on the cheek and like blessed them. Kids are watching that on television, and they're like, wow, this man really cares about us.
A one-of-a-kind, they say. And that, perhaps, is what saddens Sebastian and his father most, the fact that they don't believe there will be another Pope like him in their lifetimes.
The empty space, you feel so bad and so sad.
Bob Riddell, NBC 11 News.
And as people in the Bay Area attend special services to remember Pope John Paul II, one man is recalling the incredible impact of meeting the pontiff face-to-face. Dozens of parishioners gathered for Mass in honor of the Holy Father at St. Stephen's Church in Walnut Creek. Ed Vaisner recalled how he met the Pope in 1985. Ed's brother is a priest, and they celebrated Mass with the Pope in Rome. Vaisner still is moved at recalling the overwhelming experience.
What was he like? Just like everyone has said, he talks to you like you're the only one in the world. And it is such a feeling, it's unbelievable. That's why I'm sorry.
Many Catholic churches around the Bay Area also plan to hold special services today to honor the Pope on his day of burial.
The legacy of Pope John Paul II will certainly be one to remember. Bishop Patrick McGraw of the San Jose Diocese says he has his own fond personal memories of spending time with the Pope. He joins me live this morning to talk a little bit about them and the impact the pontiff has had on so many. First of all, thank you so much for joining us this morning. This was the largest attendance of a funeral mass in the history of the world. What would you say that says about the Holy Father?
Well, first of all, he's probably the one figure that's known all over the world, even just in profile. If you show his profile, everybody knows who he is. Also, the fact that he has traveled so much. You know, in the past, people always went to see the Holy Father in Rome. Now the Holy Father went to see them. And I think the turnout in Rome is a way of saying thank you to him for doing that. When he was dying in the papal apartments, they seemingly sent in word to him that the youth had gathered in St. Peter's Square to pray and sing. And he sent out word, I believe, to them saying, you know, I have sought you out, you have come now to be with me, and thank you. So he had just this, he was an amazing man to be able to connect with people, crowned heads, presidents, princes, and ordinary, just very ordinary people like the rest of us.
So was it no surprise to you then, some people waiting up to 24 hours just to be able to say goodbye, to see his body one last time?
Not really, no. Maybe I didn't expect the numbers, but I knew it would be large.
The conclave will meet a week from Monday. So many people are saying it's going to be big shoes to fill. But can you really compare, though? I mean, the new pontiff coming in will bring his own charisma, so to speak?
He will. He'll bring his own gifts and his own talents. The shoes are almost impossible to fill, and I don't think it would be fair even to expect that to happen. But I think the Holy Father, Pope John Paul II, has raised the bar so much now that the new Holy Father is going to have to continue some of those things, maybe the traveling, the visiting to other countries, and that his time with youth. This Holy Father, or it's difficult to talk of the Holy Father in the past tense, right. But Pope John Paul had that great connection with young people.
Exactly, and then that one-on-one connection. I know that you met with him, the Holy Father, last year, most recently. And even recently, you told a touching story at Mass that certainly humanizes the Holy Father about a visit he made to the Bay Area. Vintners from across California sending their very best wines.
Yes. When the Holy Father came to San Francisco, to the Bay Area in 1987, I was rector of St. Mary's Cathedral in San Francisco, and we had a dinner that night. He was spending the night. And, of course, wineries from all over the state sent in wine. We had wine for years afterwards. But that night at the dinner, I go to the Holy Father. He was sitting beside Archbishop Quinn and Cardinal Casaroli, the Secretary of State. And I said to him, I said, Holy Father, what would you like to drink? And he looked at me and said, I would like a beer. Well, I nearly died because none of us in the house drink beer. And then I remembered that a week or two before, a classmate of mine from Santa Rosa, Monsignor Walton, was in town going to the opera. Opera goers do drink beer, and he had brought in a 6-pack of beer. And all the way back to the kitchen, I kept saying, please, God, I'll only ask you for one thing in my whole life. Just let there be a can of beer in the refrigerator. So I opened the refrigerator door, the lights went on, the angels sang, and there it was, one can of beer. So I decanted this into a lovely glass and brought it into him and gave it to him. He didn't ask for a second one, however. I think it was a light something or
Thank
other.
God,
so,
again.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
But they're wonderful stories of that humanize this Pope. And even recalling the people at the funeral, the pilgrims there, saying, Santo, Santo. They want him to become a saint.
Well, you know, whether he's ever declared officially a saint or not, is really, you know, that's another question. But he is a saint in the sense that he's with the Lord. He's now gone home, and, you know, he's at peace. As I told them at our Cathedral of St. Joseph last Tuesday night, we have no fear for this man. He is with God. And if he's not, then all the rest of us are in serious trouble.
Exactly.
Because, you know, he was just a holy man, a very good man. People have asked me what it was like to have the Pope visit and, you know, be in your home. And having thought about it, I said, you know, it's like having your dad visit. You may not always agree with everything Dad says, but he's still your dad. And he had that effect on people. He was a very personable man. My heart goes out to the Polish people, to especially the people here in the Bay Area, in Santa Clara County, and they're in my prayers because they've given us and the world a great gift, and so now we pray for them in this moment of loss.
And we celebrate his life
We
as well.
most certainly do.
Well, we thank you for joining us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
Well, people may also share their thoughts about the Pope in a special book of condolence at St. Joseph Cathedral in San Jose, as well as San Francisco City Hall. In San Francisco, the book, it's outside of the mayor's office, so you may sign it between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. today. A surprising move by the governor. One of his major reform initiatives is now off the table. What this means for his other reforms and his push for a special election.
Rob Maeda here with a look at the roaming radar, confirming what you already know if you've stepped outdoors today. We'll let you know how long the rain will stick around in your forecast coming up.
Captioning is brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Rest easy during our tax-free mattress sale.
When people find out how much money they can save by doing the cowboy thing and switching to Eastwood Insurance, they can get a little carried away. Of course, with rates starting as low as $29 a month, this kind of enthusiasm is understandable, but not really necessary.
So if you want to save big on your car insurance, call Eastwood Insurance at 1-800-468-LESS or visit us online at eastwoodinsurance.com.
And leave the cowboy to us.
Eastwood. What kind of person graduates from Heald College?
Sons, daughters, single moms, high school grads.
The successful kind.
Great companies have hired Heald grads.
What was their first step to success?
Small classes, placement assistance.
They called, and you should too. Call today.
Hands-on learning, associate degrees in just 18 months.
Call now. Call 877-25-HEALD. That's 877-25-HEALD. Improve your life. Get in, get out, get ahead.
Right now, let Yardbirds Home Centers help you change your outdoors into the great outdoors at the lowest prices guaranteed. And if you need advice, there's always a Yardbird expert ready to help. Want more from a home center? You can have it at Yardbirds. We feature the largest selection of the highest quality digging tools in Northern California. Shovels, rakes, and hoes of every type by Seymour Structron. Yardbirds, value for every project, every day.
The first time, one of Ellen's comedy heroes
But what took her so long to come on the show?
You don't fly. You take a bus.
One of the first times I ever flew, a guy passed away next to me.
Okay, I understand the bus now.
Plus, Miss Congeniality's Regina King. Next on New Ellen.
Today at 4 on the Bay Area's NBC 11.
When the biggest power players have something you need to know, they talk to Maria Bartiromo. The Wall Street Journal Report.
Sunday at 9:30 a.m. on NBC 11.
Governor Schwarzenegger is stepping away from the controversial issue of pension reform. The governor announced yesterday that he's tabling that issue. But as NBC 11's Christian Kaftan tells us, he did not rule out the possibility that restructuring state employees' pensions could pop up again in the near future.
Hey, Arnold, you cannot! Angry protesters greeted the governor during his Santa Rosa visit on Thursday.
We can see your corporate side.
Protesters angry about proposed changes to the state's pension system. Firefighters and police officers who say their death or disability benefits would have been cut. They say this issue is far from over.
The firefighters are not going to go away because he's temporarily pulled pension attack off the table.
The governor himself said while he'll stall his efforts to overhaul the system, he said he would like to see the issue put to the voters.
Let us pull it back, let us rewrite it, do it better than we did before, and then resubmit it and put it on the next June 2006 ballot.
The governor has also said he'd like to pursue a legislative overhaul on the pension issue, trying to work out an agreement with Democratic lawmakers who are vowing to battle the governor on a number of fronts.
I think many folks now feel that the gun has been unloaded, where the pension proposals or the pension initiative is concerned, but the gun still has 3 bullets in it.
Those bullets refer to a number of issues the governor has worked on, including merit pay for teachers and redrawing the state's political maps, issues the governor says he is committed to working on. In Berkeley, Christian Kaftan, NBC 11 News.
NBC 11's political analyst Larry Gersten joins us now with a look at why the governor has changed his stance. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning.
Why the reversal? The governor is saying that he's not backing down due to union pressure. I think he's saying something more to the effect, well, I talked to some of the families and I'm listening to their side, and he's trying to back away from that union pressure thing.
Remember that song, The Gambler, Kenny Rogers? You got to know when to hold him.
And know when to fold him.
And know when to fold him. You guys got it. That's exactly the story, folks. You know, he took a look out there. He saw what was going on. The people protesting, following him everywhere. The editorials also speaking up with great concern. You put it all together, if nothing else, the governor knows when to stop. So he put it down. He said, I'm going to put this away for now. The question is, what other things loom? How significant is this? How symbolic is this in terms of all the other issues that await the governor?
Well, if the governor backs down with the firefighters and police unions, he still says he's going to head with the teachers on education reform.
Yeah, we've got education reform is a big issue right now. There's no question about it. Now, they've got a different matter with the governor. In their case, what they're saying is, you took away $2 billion from us last year. You promised you would give it back to us this year, and you've gone back on it. Now, when you're ranked 44th, I repeat, 44th in per capita expenditures, when your classroom sizes are also ranked 44th, only have 50 states. When you've got that low ranking, the educators are really in a fury over this, and so you can expect them to really go at it toe-to-toe with the governor.
And of course, we know where the unions stand on many of his reforms, but what about the average voter? And I think that's key because, as we reported this morning, his approval rating has really dropped.
That's interesting, Brent. You know, when it comes to the average voter, issues like pension reform, that's an inside issue. Even redistricting, that's an inside issue. The education question is not. That impacts everyone. No doubt that's one of the reasons why the governor's standing has plummeted. In addition, the fact of the matter is we still have an unbalanced budget. This governor, when he came in a year or so ago, said, I'm going to balance the budget. We passed that $15 billion bond last year. It only was balanced for last year only. Why? Because we still have the structural deficit. It means one of two things has to happen. We have to cut expenditures dramatically, or we have to raise the T word, taxes.
Right.
Do you think we're going to see his reforms on a special election, or do you think that the governor and Democrats might reach a compromise?
Oh, if we only knew, Laura. The fact of the matter is that he's got about a week or so before he has to call that special election. The end of next week is when he has to fish or cut bait. If he calls it, we're not only going to see those 3 other issues that he's concerned about, we're also going to see upwards of 30 or 40 other proposals in circulation that will be some things the governor likes, something the governor doesn't like. This is an opportunity for everyone to take their issues to the ballot. And you can imagine the hundreds of thousands of signatures being gathered right now.
Right.
It could be just Pandora's box opening up in ways we never imagined.
Well, and I think a lot of people are saying, well, you know, that was the big fear, is that the governor had such a pull with the people that he would take it to the ballot and then he would win. But now it's apparent that he may not win, and I think a lot of the unions just even last week were saying, you know what, go ahead and take it to the vote. Let's go.
You know, a year or so from now, we're going to be gearing up for the gubernatorial primary. When we do gear up for that primary, people are going to look back at this time, April of 2005, at which point they're going to say, remember when the governor had his issues? Remember when the governor turned away? Was this the reason why the governor ran for re-election or chose not to?
What's the other part of the song?
This may be that turning point.
Got to know when to walk away and when to run.
You bet.
All right, very good.
Thanks, Larry.
Thanks a lot, Larry. Appreciate it.
Well, the cost of a stamp could be going up. The Postal Service wants a 2-cent increase, which would bump up the cost of a stamp to 39 cents. The Postal Service says it needs the increase because of a requirement to maintain an escrow fund. It wants Congress to eliminate that requirement. The Post Office says if that happens, the request to raise the rate will be withdrawn. Postal rates last went up in 2002.
Right now, it's time to change gears a little bit. Check out our NBC 11 traffic pulse. Check in with Christine Newell on this wet and rainy Friday morning. Get a look at the roads, Christine.
Yeah, well, those conditions have really impacted the commute. In fact, BART is telling us they're running trains at slower speeds through some stations because of the weather, but they're telling us maximum delays you can expect along the system, 5 minutes. The roadways, though, expect longer delays. That's because the conditions are really impacting the commute. East Bay into San Francisco, for those of you that are trying to get to the Bay Bridge, you may want to leave a little bit later because this picture says it all. You see the raindrops on the lens. That combined with this backup, it's going to take you quite some time to leave the East Bay. You're jammed solid to the foot of the maze, a 20-minute delay here, but you have more delays once on the upper deck. We're getting reports of some flooding along the Skyway in San Francisco, so definitely a slow crawl coming through Treasure Island. Now, trying to get to the lower deck of the Bay Bridge, you got a crowd here as well. Northbound 101 heading into San Francisco. These delays beginning around 280 and continuing towards the 80 split. You also see we have some windy conditions. So again, obviously a very good idea to allow yourself plenty of extra time. Let's go to our NBC 11 traffic pulse where we're picking up poor traffic flow trying to get into the Los Altos Hills. North 280 at Sand Hill Road. Crash there involving an overturned car has traffic backed up solid to at least Page Mill. I'd stick with Highway 101 as an alternate. And the commute out of Contra Costa County, a grind, westbound 24 approaching Highway 13 in Oakland. Crash there has traffic backed up for about 10 minutes through Central Lafayette. To Highway 101 in Marin County, southbound traffic here still real ugly. No delays further north through Petaluma, but it is heavy once you get into Novato from Highway 37. This slow ride will continue all the way down towards Central San Rafael. Let's take a look at that Nimitz Freeway, and still very nasty at this hour. North 880 on the right, slow going here approaching the Oakland Coliseum, and South 880, you see you got some company here as you make that drive further down towards San Leandro. Let's head into San Jose where it's actually, we have some good news here. 280 looking pretty good at the 880-17 junction, and so far, no accidents reported between Morgan Hill and San Jose along Highway 101. Let's see if this weather's going to taper off. Rob's filling in for Shannon.
Yeah, Christine, the only traffic camera that we saw that showed some good news weather-wise, San Rafael starting to see a break in the action. Not the case in San Francisco, looking more like the rinse cycle turned on at this hour. We're seeing the winds up at 25 miles per hour to the west, with the rain coming in at an angle right through San Francisco right now. 51 degrees, 50 in San Jose, 49 in Oakland, upper 40s and close to 50 degrees elsewhere. Check now the roaming radar showing you most of the system now is pushing its way through the central and southern portion of the Bay Area. San Jose looking at some light to moderate rain. Into the East Bay, you saw it around the 680 commute, some rain right there around Concord, some heavy downpours at times. Now pushing off to the east. The bit of good news we have at this hour, the North Bay, and you started to see that around the San Rafael traffic camera on 101. Even though the traffic's not looking so good, the weather is improving as the rain band starts to push off to the east. So the most widespread rain from the system coming through right now. Behind it, we'll see scattered showers and the potential for an isolated thunder shower thrown in before things finally calm down as we head into the start of the weekend. Satellite view will show you the system cranked up most of the energy just off to our north. We're getting the cold front swinging on through right now, so rain at times, continued windy, and the breezes will pick up a bit for the afternoon. Generally out of the west-northwest up to 25 miles per hour. with the promise of a drier weekend. Now, the story today on the coast, in addition to the rain, will be some big waves coming on in. Later today, the surf building to 10 feet. So we could see some localized coastal flooding in some spots as high tide picks up later on this weekend. That combined with the swell building to 12 feet later today. Travel plans into the Sierra: be prepared for some winter-like conditions, snow at times near 4,000 feet. The snow showers will wind down with the start of the weekend. Today's highs upper 50s and low 60s. Widespread rain for the next 2 to 4 hours. Then we'll see scattered showers heading towards this evening. And all this leading up to an improving weekend forecast. Windy, though, on Saturday as high pressure builds in. The best day of the bunch should be on Sunday as temperatures warm a bit under sunny skies to round out the weekend. Brent and Laura, back to you.
Very good. Thanks for the update, Rob.
A royal wedding tomorrow, but what Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles will have to do first before they tie the knot.
Actually becomes the TV.
Rob Becker's Defending the Caveman, the longest-running solo play in Broadway history. And now the most successful comedy performance of all time is coming to the Flint Center April 8th and 9th. Log on to NBC11.com and click Entertainment to win tickets.
His big secret.
You killed his baby. That's not how it was!
Is exposed.
It's just a matter of time before Sexy Rexy finds out.
And it's coming. The reunions you've been waiting for. We promise. Days of Our Lives.
Looking for direction? Take the simple career aptitude test. Do you prefer A, a desk, B, a massage table, A, a word processor, B, an aromatherapy set, A, a ringing alarm clock, B, a leather-bound date book? If you chose A, you should get in line for the nearest cubicle. But if you chose B, consider a career in massage therapy. It's a flexible and deeply fulfilling career.
For a brochure, call 800-722-7337 for Bryman College. That's 800-722-7337.
Go to NBC11.com and click Weather for the Subaru Weekend Adventure. Just click the Subaru Adventure logo to find great activities for your own outdoor experience. Weather on NBC11.com. Sponsored in part by Subaru. Think, feel, drive Subaru.
Yes, international movement superstar. Original boy man sound. Big up, put them aside.
Whatever motivates you, now we have something that'll really get you moving. If you call 1-800-204-2400 right now, you'll pay absolutely no enrollment fee. You to the power of 24.
A kidnapper exposed.
Beth is the one who kidnapped me and stole my baby.
This week, she finds a way to prove he's her son.
We want to do a DNA test on Marty.
It's a test with a twist. Passions.
Ultimately familiar, but forever mysterious. With a melodic voice and sophisticated style, she's smooth and sultry. Sade is KKSF 103.7.
Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles will finally exchange their vows tomorrow, but the union may not put an end to the controversy surrounding the couple. Today, Prince Charles attended the Pope's funeral. He originally planned to be married today, as you'll remember, but the ceremony is now for tomorrow. As part of the religious blessing, the couple will have to confess their sins. But buzz around the couple has been harsh. TV spots and T-shirts poke fun at the bride-to-be, and commemorative coins on the web show Queen Elizabeth holding her head in shame. Some say it could be time to give the bride a break.
She should go for a halo fitting. She's been a saint through all this, to have stuck by him all this time and have suffered all that condescension.
Plans for a honeymoon could be sure to change as well because of yet another funeral. This one could be for Monaco's Prince Rainier.
There's been kind of a royal cloud over everything.
Everything they do, there seems to be some kind of a hitch, yeah.
Well, stolen computers could put thousands of people in the Bay Area at risk for identity theft. What you should do to protect yourself.
And I'm Jonas Tishner. San Jose police head to Las Vegas as they broaden their investigation into a finger found in a Wendy's bowl of chili. We have the very latest on the investigation coming up in a live report.
Smart & Final lets you bring home restaurant quality with the very same products professional chefs use. Like Chef's Review, a professional line of food, ingredients, and culinary supplies.
Smart & Final, the smaller, faster warehouse store.
Every day, Progressive does something that's, well, progressive. They have this ticker that shows their car insurance rates and their top competitors. Right now on Progressive.com, you can see actual rates that people are getting. Sometimes Progressive is the lowest. Sometimes they're not. Hey, if they're this helpful when you're shopping for car insurance, imagine how they'll be once you're a customer.
We should save this. This is from me, Mom. It's something you've always wanted. It's your report card. Thought you'd like it.
This moment brought to you by Sylvan Learning Center.
I spent hours doing homework. Then I got help from Sylvan.
We call our approach the Sylvan Advantage. It's a proven process that works. We begin by identifying your child's specific needs, followed by individual attention and personalized lesson plans from highly trained and certified teachers who just love teaching, and progress reports for you every step of the way. If your child is struggling or just not being challenged enough, call this number now.
Now, homework's no problem.
The skills to do better in school, the confidence to do better in everything else. Sylvan, learning feels good.
Smart & Final's cooked up some great savings, like boneless, skinless chicken breasts, only $8.69. Chef's Review meatballs, 4 pounds, just $7.99. Save time, save money at Smart & Final, the smaller, faster warehouse store.
We return to our top story. President Bush says going to the funeral of Pope John Paul II was one of the highlights of his presidency. As NBC's Terry Ruggles shows us, he joined dozens of other presidents, royalty, and pilgrims at St. Peter's Square this morning to say a final farewell to the pontiff.
St. Peter's Square was a sea of people, heads of state, religious leaders, and the faithful from all corners of the earth, coming together for a funeral mass to celebrate the life of Pope John Paul II.
This is an incredible event, once in a lifetime.
15 minutes into the mass, crowds were still rushing in, many of them carrying the flag of Poland.
This is amazing. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
The mass was an emotional roller coaster of sadness and pride. Some people wept openly. Others waved the Polish flag.
Amidst the sadness, the suffering, there's always the joy.
It was only the invited guests who got seats. Most people stood. Some sat on blankets. It was hard to see what was going on from the back of St. Peter's Square, so thousands chose to watch on the huge video screens that were set up near the Basilica and in large open areas all around Rome.
It's really, really interesting being here and experiencing all of this.
It's incredible because you see what one man can do.
I think everybody has a good feeling. I think they have a good feeling that this guy did quite a bit for world peace, and I just think that he's gone, but his spirit will remain.
It's the end of an era and a big piece of history. And now the College of Cardinals, 11 of them from the United States, must focus their attention on finding a new leader for more than 1 billion Catholics. At Vatican City, Terry Ruggles, NBC 11 News.
Here's a look at what is next as the College of Cardinals votes on the next pope. The Cardinals will celebrate a morning mass on Monday, April 18th. Then they'll be sequestered in the Sistine Chapel for the conclave. According to church law, they will hold at least one ballot on the first day. If no one gets the required 2/3 majority after about 12 days, Cardinals may elect a pope by a simple majority. 117 cardinals are eligible to vote, but only 116 will enter the conclave. One cardinal is too sick to attend.
Work plans are changing on the Bay Bridge as the result of an FBI investigation into claims that welds on the Bay Bridge may be defective. State lawmakers say crews will not pour concrete over welds anymore that are still exposed. That's so they can be inspected. The FBI is investigating claims that KFM joint ventures pressured welders to cover up bad welds. Governor Schwarzenegger says he supports the FBI investigation and wants to get to the bottom of the safety issue. Caltrans maintains that the welds are safe. Hundreds of Muni drivers could lose their jobs in an effort to make up for a $57 million budget gap. The Chronicle reports the union received notices last week that 200 drivers may lose their jobs. And the union says riders will also share that pain as there will be service cuts as well. Muni blames financial woes on rising health care, retirement, and fuel costs. Last year, voters rejected 2 city tax measures that could have helped fund Muni.
San Jose police are saying little this morning about a search warrant they served in Las Vegas at the home of the woman who claimed she found a finger in a bowl of fast food chili. NBC 11's Jonas Tishner is live at the San Jose Police Department, where officers say they are working with state health investigators to look into this case. Jonas?
Laura, you're correct. They will not say much, only to confirm that they did serve a search warrant in Las Vegas, but they don't really have to. The fact that they were there, a bit of proof that this is getting a whole lot bigger than just a woman finding a finger in a bowl of chili. The question still remains, how did a finger get into the bowl of Wendy's chili?
Are we talking about an industrial accident? Are we talking about an unreported homicide, for example? Where's the rest of this person? Who owns that finger?
The investigation leading San Jose detectives to Las Vegas on Wednesday, to the home of Anna Ayala. She's the one who found the finger at a San Jose Wendy's chain.
Basically, they kicked the door open. They just pulled everything out of the closet. Oh, she hung most of it back up, but all this that's on the floor was ripped out of the closet.
And what were they looking for?
Body or something? I don't know. Seriously, I'm trying to be honest. I have no idea.
What they were looking for and what they found, investigators just won't say. But their investigation is broadening.
There's still OSHA issues here. There's still public health issues here. But from a criminal standpoint, San Jose PD is going to be the lead investigation, or the lead investigating agency.
Raising suspicion as to their trip to Sin City and focus on the woman who found the finger.
They're not missing any fingers. They're not, nobody in their family is. None of us are. Right. I don't get it. I don't understand what the deal is.
Meantime, Wendy's is offering a $50,000 reward for information that can identify where the digit came from.
Wendy's has been very cooperative in this investigation, and yes, they maintain that it did not come from their stores or any of their vendors.
And investigators here in San Jose say they are waiting now on some DNA tests on that finger, which they say can reveal to them both the race and gender, perhaps leading them to find out who it belongs to. Reporting live in San Jose, I'm Jonas Tishner, NBC 11 News.
Volunteers from the Red Cross will be in San Jose's Willow Glen neighborhood this weekend addressing concerns about fire hazards in apartment complexes. The meeting comes on the heels of a devastating apartment fire in Willow Glen last month that displaced more than 200 people. Red Cross volunteers will address issues such as renters insurance, creating emergency kits, and having an evacuation plan. If you'd like to attend that meeting, you can go to our website at NBC11.com for more information.
Police are investigating a possible case of identity theft in the South Bay. It stems from a burglary at San Jose Medical Group. San Jose police confirm someone stole 2 computers from the Ray Street Administrative Office last month. The computers contain confidential medical information of nearly 40,000 people. NBC 11 has the letter that patients received this week. It says, quote, "There is no indication any confidential information has been misused or disclosed." But it also told people to contact a credit bureau to post a fraud alert.
Michael Jackson's defense attempted to rebound today after crushing testimony yesterday. Jackson's defense brought up a past claim filed by a former maid. Earlier in that week, that maid told the court about seeing Jackson molest boys. The maid filed a claim against Jackson, saying that she could potentially be a witness against him in trial, but the maid claims that she was not trying to threaten the singer. Jackson's defense also questioned a former security guard about his motives after he testified that he saw Jackson having sexual relationships as well with a boy.
Congress takes up the issue of how much daylight we see.
Sunday game.
And movie reviewer James Rocky up next with a look at some of this weekend's new entertainment releases.
And here's a review of your NBC 11 WeatherNet site out at the Embarcadero. Look at the wind, west at 16 miles per hour, a ½ inch of rain fallen so far today. We'll let you know how much more rain to expect coming up.
Dr. Massey, all the signs are currently in place for the end of days.
I'm all for believing, I'm all for believing.
You are looking for Christ.
Some believe he is already here.
I believe in what I see.
She's talking. Believe whatever you want to.
Oh, deny whatever you want to.
Just believe I'm all for believing.
Revelations premieres NBC Wednesday, 9/8 Central.
time, you can count on Kraft shredded cheese to taste great. And with the fresh slide, that Kraft taste you love today will be just as delicious tomorrow, if it makes it till tomorrow. Kraft shredded cheese.
So lucky to be loving you.
All the taste, all the time.
Come to KFC now and bring home a big 10-piece bucket of chicken, all delicious legs and thighs for just $7.99. Now that's value. Just $7.99 for 10 original recipe or extra crispy legs and thighs. And this is not just any chicken, but world-famous KFC chicken. Freshly prepared by hand and cooked to perfection right there in the store. So bring home the value. Bring your family a big 10-piece bucket of golden juicy legs and thighs for just $7.99 from KFC, Chicken Capital, USA.
Hello, 21st? You're not going to believe this.
I'd believe it. That's why we give you more policy features than any leading company.
And at 21st, new customers save an average of $300. 21st Century Insurance. Good people to call. Call 1-800-211-SAVE.
Well, spring is here, and the opening week of the baseball season brings a fevered pitch to the big screen. Plus, a globe-trotting adventure, this one starring Matthew McConaughey. Netflix movie reviewer James Rocky joining me today with a look at some of the new ones coming out today. Good morning. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you, Brent.
Let's start with Fevered Pitch, starring Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore. They actually filmed this thing. It's a baseball movie, but they actually did a lot of the filming in Boston in live games, right?
They absolutely did. It's about a lifelong Red Sox fan whose new relationship with a woman is a little bit imperiled by the depth of his obsession. And we actually had to reshoot new scenes for the end of a film because of how last year's World Series was going. So you had Barrymore and Fallon flying to St. Louis to capture the climactic moment of a climactic game.
It was pretty interesting to see how they did it with the live fans there. They really wanted the authenticity of a real game and the real fans. This one comes from a novel, the writer of High Fidelity, Nick Hornby.
Yeah, and it's got a very similar theme as a man has to give up the things he thinks he loves in order to find true love with someone. It's not quite as good as High Fidelity. It doesn't dig quite as deep. With that said, Barrymore and Fallon are very easy to watch. This movie's pretty much a double. It's not out of the park, but if you're looking for a great date movie, it's a very good choice.
A good solid hit, not too bad. All right,
yeah.
We'll take that for the RBIs. Also on the big screen this weekend, Sahara, which brings up McConaughey. I'll let you sort that out. Stephen Zahn, Penelope Cruz also in this one. This is a real kind of globe-trotting Indiana Jones type movie.
Yeah, it's based on the novels by Clive Cussler, and McConaughey plays a man-of-action salvage expert who winds up following a mysterious plague that's killing residents of Saharan Africa. With that said, it doesn't really quite work. The thing is that when you take a little Indiana Jones and a little James Bond and a little Tom Clancy, what you seem to have wound up with is a pretty little movie. It's got some flash and some charm thanks to McConaughey and Zahn, but it never really quite comes together as a kind of popcorn adventure it would like to be.
Yeah, I kind of like Steve Zahn. He's a funny guy, not one of your major stars, but I like the films. The Thing You Do, for example. He does some good work.
Yes, I was able to talk to him about this film, and he said it was weird working on a $160 million movie after years of toiling on smaller, independent films. But at the same time, at the end of the day, he had the same job to do, be on set and liven things up a little bit.
Is he kind of a funny, kind of smart aleck type character, as he often is in some of the other with these funny little quirky lines? Does he do the same thing?
He gets a bunch of great one-liners in this. You can actually watch my interview with him at rockyreport.netflix.com. We've got it as a downloadable file.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Check that out. So what do you think? Is Fevered Pitch going to be one of those top box office draws when we tally up the numbers at the end of the weekend?
I think it's going to be at the top of the box office, if only because girlfriends across America who got dragged to see Sin City last weekend are going to be demanding some payback. And I think this is going to be the film.
All right, a good baseball film for that. Thanks a lot, James. Always good to see you.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
Well, the Cookie Monster is going to get a makeover. The change is being made.
And we'll test drive a new high-tech taxi that's going to keep you company on the roads in the Bay Area pretty soon.
The IRS keeping you up at night?
Are you afraid of losing everything? Don't let the IRS control your life.
Hello, I'm John Harris, president of J.K. Harris & Company. The IRS can attach your wages, your pension, your savings, even your Social Security checks. If you owe back taxes, you could qualify to reduce your tax debt by as much as 85%.
Call the IRS experts at J.K. Harris now for your free confidential tax settlement analysis.
Call 1-800-893-0344.
When people find out how much money they can save by doing the cowboy thing and switching to Eastwood Insurance, they can get a little carried away. Of course, with rates starting as low as $29 a month, this kind of enthusiasm is understandable, but not really necessary.
So if you want to save big on your car insurance, call Eastwood Insurance at 1-800-468-LESS or visit us online at eastwoodinsurance.com.
And leave the cowboy to us.
Eastwood. NBC Sunday starts with The Contender for a battle outside the ring that leads to the biggest fight yet.
I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win for my 2 kids.
Then, on an all-new Criminal Intent, a monster with a craving, turning beauties into beasts. And on an all-new Crossing Jordan, a serial killer set free.
All the victims were dark-haired.
And he's chosen his next victim.
Like you.
The Contender, Criminal Intent, and Crossing Jordan, all new NBC Sunday.
It's not over yet, but experts say the worst of the flu season is out of the way. New data from the Centers for Disease Control shows flu activity peaked in mid-February. Since then, it's seen a decline across the nation. Overall, the CDC says this season was milder than last year, but health experts caution the flu is still circulating and recommend antiviral drugs to fight it.
San Francisco taxi cabs about to undergo a high-tech change. NBC 11's business and tech reporter Scott Budman taking us for a ride in the Bay Area's first interactive taxi cab.
On a typical cab ride, you don't have much to keep your attention. You can look at other cars as they drive by, or watch your fare rising by the minute. But San Francisco is about to put something inside its cabs to keep you company.
Now there's a world of information at your fingertips.
They call it the interactive taxi, a way to watch a little TV, catch up on some news, even make a reservation at a local restaurant. An idea that came, when else, during a long cab ride.
We were in a cab, and it was a long cab ride, and it was boring, and you couldn't see out the windows because it was raining, and there was nothing going on.
So thanks to the latest in wireless technology, you can let your fingers walk while you drive.
Oh, yeah.
We put the prototype to the test with mixed results.
Check the sports. That's definitely something I do.
It'd be cool to have email on it and stuff like that.
No internet connection yet, but if cab rides leave you wanting something more, you'll soon have some company in the back seat. In San Francisco, Scott Budman, NBC 11 News.
See, now I'm too busy watching to make sure they don't take me the long way.
Car sick.
You know, making sure they go the short way. Anyway, about 200 interactive cabs will hit the streets of San Francisco in about 2 weeks, and the service is free.
Students in the San Jose Unified School District may have to pay to ride the school bus. The district says it's one way to solve the budget crisis, but parents don't like it. The district already plans to close several schools next year, but that's still not enough. Paying to ride the bus is just one option. Others include shortening certain bus routes and eliminating bus service for high schoolers. School administrators say they're concerned the proposal could have an effect on attendance. Instead of saying the dog ate my homework, you could say I didn't have bus fare.
Didn't have money for the bus. Well, you don't have to pay to get your traffic update this morning. NBC 11's Christine Nubla got our traffic pulse on this Friday morning this morning.
Yeah, not a good time to be on the roadways, folks. The wet weather really wreaking havoc for the morning commute. As we take a look behind me, you can see this camera just bouncing up and down along with those wet roadways. You have very windy conditions. Keep both hands on that steering wheel. Northbound 101 is okay here approaching the 80 splits improved, but southbound 101 further further down the roadway, we're getting reports of a very bad accident approaching SFO. 5 cars involved, may have 3 lanes blocked there. So if I were you, make your way over to 280 as an alternate. Now, the other side of the bay, we also have some crowding at this hour. Live pictures here of the Nimitz Freeway, South 880, still very crowded here approaching San Leandro. Northbound 880 are looking a little bit better, but before you get there, we do have a problem working in San Lorenzo. This is southbound 238. Caltrans doing some emergency road work at Hesperian Boulevard that has traffic backed up into Hayward. Let's take you further north towards the Bay Bridge at this hour, where traffic at the metering lights is still stopped, and westbound 80 as you leave the Oakland area, you'll find traffic backed up to at least the foot of the maze, and once on the span, definitely very heavy. And here we'll take you there live to the tolls. You can see the raindrops here on the lens, and this commute isn't going to improve for quite some time, so I definitely allow yourself plenty of extra time if you are doing any late commuting today. Let's head to San Jose, where actually that's been the best ride so far in this last hour. Northbound 280 okay here at the 880 junction, but further north you can expect a lot of brake lights heading into Los Altos Hills. This all because of a crash still working at Sand Hill Road. To the North Bay, southbound 101, a check at traffic, and yeah, this hasn't improved as well. It is still jammed solid out of Novato from Highway 37 all the way down to central San Rafael. Thanks for the good weather, Rob. Here he is with the forecast.
I come back from one day from the vacation, and look what follows me here. Well, Christina, at least we're talking about some improving conditions now in San Francisco up to the North Bay. Not the case in the East Bay and San Jose. We'll start you off in San Francisco. We're looking out there, and you can see nothing but clouds. Windy, but most of the heavier rain now has moved off to the east. Let's take you on another stop around the area as we continue our path throughout the Bay Area. Oakland right now looking at some light to moderate rain, that too moving off to the east. And once again down into the South Bay around San Jose. Yes, we need the windshield wiper there on the city camera lens. The South Bay now getting the worst of the weather as the rain band continues to push off to the south and east. So we just seen this from the city cam views. Let's take you in on the roaming radar. And sure enough, in the North Bay, we're starting to finally see a break. It was certainly a soggy start to the morning in places like San Rafael down towards San Francisco. But yes, now it's the South Bay seeing the worst of the weather. We'll take you into San Jose. You saw it from the traffic camera, city cam view. Bands of light to moderate rain pushing on through. This will continue at least for the next couple of hours into the East Bay. Concord, Walnut Creek, and Alamo still stuck in the rain. That should start to let up in the next hour or so. The rain already starting to let up now around San Francisco, heading up into the North Bay, but still some gusty winds, up to 25 to 30 miles per hour. And that's the way we'll start the weekend as well, with some gusty winds at times. Certainly a rinse cycle earlier around San Francisco. Couldn't see a whole lot this morning. That kind of a snapshot of the morning commute, and you can see the system responsible for this, almost like a late winter type storm system. It has a lot of cold air aloft, strengthening as it made its way across the Oregon, Northern California coast. Now the cold front is sweeping through right now, so the most widespread rain we'll see today is coming through right now. Already starting to see a bit of a break in the action in the North Bay. Behind the front, still some scattered showers and maybe a thunder shower at least till sundown. The things start to improve as we head into the weekend as high pressure builds back in. This will get us some clearing skies, but still pretty windy on Saturday. A little less in the way of wind as we go into Sunday. Out on the coast, the story will be some big surf heading toward the coast. The surf eventually climbing close to 10 feet. And some gusty winds, too. The wind should start to taper off, looks like late Saturday. And there you see the swell out of the west up to 12 feet. So some pretty big waves heading to the coast. In the Sierra, fresh snow. We'll be looking at 3 to 5 inches of snow near 4,000 feet. Snow showers winding down later tonight. Quick check of the statewide forecast. Includes a dry day in Southern California. Then we start to see the rain as we approach Monterey and Fresno. Reno close to 50 today. Lake Tahoe almost skiing conditions there. Look at that, 38 degrees with some snow showers, 61 around Sacramento. Low 60s today across the South Bay. That'll be the last place to clear. The rain's going to hang on. The cold front moving from the northwest to the southeast. So in the South Bay, expect to see the rain sticking around at least through the mid-afternoon. Into the East Bay, highs today, upper 50s, close to 60 in San Ramon. And into the North Bay, things looking quite chilly. Upper 50s, close to 60 with scattered showers for the rest of the afternoon. So here's a look at your 5-day forecast. Not so good news today. But the weekend, at least, that's the silver lining to the forecast. Sunday looks pretty good, that increase in clouds. Cooler conditions for Monday and Tuesday of next week. Laura.
Thanks a lot, Rob. We could be seeing a little extra daylight if Congress approves a new bill. When daylight savings time was extended in the 1970s, it saved the equivalent of 10,000 barrels of oil a day. Now lawmakers are looking at extending daylight savings time an additional 2 months every year. It would start a month earlier in March and end a month later in October. It's part of an energy bill that supporters claim will make the U.S. more energy efficient.
Perhaps the savings today would be even as high as 20,000 barrels a day.
But critics say it won't make a difference. It's not much compared to U.S. consumption of 20 million barrels of oil a day. Lawmakers approved an amendment yesterday, and Congress is expected to review the bill next month.
Just leave it permanent. That's what they do in Arizona. They never change. Developers making a big discovery in Ventura County. Home builders unearthed the skeletal remains of a prehistoric mammoth in Moore Park yesterday. The mammoths are believed to be 12 feet tall with 8-foot tusks. Construction crews have stopped their work so that scientists can begin theirs. They estimate that it will take around a week to remove the skeleton, and then the remains will be taken to the Los Angeles Museum of Natural History to be examined.
What a find. John Lennon was much more than a musician. He was also an artist, and now you can see his work on display in San Francisco. The exhibit features more than 100 pieces of Lennon's artwork, including some of his original drawings and limited edition prints. The exhibit opened last night at the Hotel Monaco in honor of the opening of Lennon, the musical. It runs through the weekend.
Sesame Street's Cookie Monster about to be put on a diet. We're going to show you what he's going to be eating now.
Everybody knows they should go to the dentist. Now here's a reason you should want to go. This is a laser dentists are using instead of a drill. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? I thought so too, until I had the Waterlase used on me, and I was amazed. Even better, many times you don't need to have a shot either. This changes everything.
Fred, can I have that back, please?
Oh, sorry. Call us today for the Waterlase dentist near you.
If you were denied Social Security disability benefits at every step, you should appeal again, this time in federal court. But not all lawyers have the experience to fight for you in federal court. I'm attorney Harvey Sackett. I help people win disability benefits, including in federal court. Every day, I take on the Social Security Administration.
Harvey Sackett, 1-800-913-3000.
NBC 11 and the Silicon Valley Charity Ball Foundation salute SanDisk, supporters of Silicon Valley Charity Ball 2005, honoring the hearts of the Valley. Call today for tickets.
How does a college succeed for 140 years?
Regionally accredited, career-focused.
It invests in its students.
Heald is nonprofit. Your tuition supports your school.
How do you get in on that success?
Small classes, placement assistance.
You call. Call Heald College today.
Hands-on learning. Associate degrees in just 18 months.
Call now. Call 877-25-HEALD. That's 877-25-HEALD. Improve your life. Get in, get out, get ahead.
If you're a homeowner who needs fast cash, then call Quick Loan Funding now. Even if you've had late payments, a foreclosure, or bankruptcy, all you need to do is call Quick Loan Funding at 800-500-0000. In most cases, you'll be approved in as little as 5 minutes.
We had a bankruptcy on our record, and we're told there was no way we could get a loan. Thank you, Quick Loan Funding, for helping us get the money we needed fast.
Call Quick Loan Funding now and get help fast. 800-500-0000.
You can't wait, and we won't let you. Quick Loan Funding.
If you are one of the millions of people who suffer from computer eye strain, tonight at 5, we'll show you a new eye exam that may be able to help you see better. It's called the PRIO test. A South Bay doctor shows us how it works at 5. Then at 6, what really happened in the Abu Ghraib prison scandal? Tonight, we'll talk with a woman in charge of military prisons in Iraq during the incident. On the Bay Area at 6.
Sesame Street's Cookie Monster now eating fewer cookies. Sesame Street kicked off its 36th season with the furry blue monster that we all love, now advocating healthy eating. He is replacing the C is for cookie song with a cookie is a sometimes food. Sesame Street execs say that this season will focus on teaching children about healthy foods and physical activity, but they say the Cookie Monster will occasionally still scarf down a cookie, whereas he used to in the past pour an entire bag down his face, and then remember all the crumbs flying out all over the place, and he loved. They should just create a whole new character, the Salad Monster or something like that.
They may have to.
You know, just go like with that.
Cookies are okay, sometimes.
You're the Cookie Monster, but not with the cookies. I don't know.
Thanks so much for joining us for the Bay Area today.
Be sure to tune in tonight at 5 and 6 for all the latest Bay Area news. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Follow your team wherever you go, all season long on XM Satellite Radio.
It's gorgeous.
And we can afford it.
You know, we're going to have to start a college fund.
I already know. And he's gonna make a great lawyer.
Doctor.
Mom, Dad, check it out.
So what do you think, honey?
It's really loud.
What's your dream? Valley Credit Union. People, passion, possibilities.
Yes, international movement superstar. Original boy man sound. Big up, put them aside.
Whatever motivates you, now we have something that'll really get you moving. If you call 1-800-204-2400 right now, you'll pay absolutely no enrollment fee. You to the power of 24.
Meet Bill Fowler. Movies are a big part of his life. But Bill has a problem. He's always late. By the time he gets home, his movies have already started.
I've got exact change. Oh, no. What?
Comcast Digital Cable has the solution. Stars on Demand.
A nickel?
With Stars on Demand, it doesn't matter if he's late.
I'll just write a check.
Because his movies are waiting for him. It's free with this great offer from Comcast and Stars, and it's not available on satellite. Now Bill gets over 100 new hit movies a month. He can start whenever he wants, plus Hollywood extras and more. And with On Demand from Comcast Digital Cable, he gets hundreds of additional free on-demand shows. Comcast can't solve all of his problems, but it's a start.
Get Comcast Digital Cable with Stars for just $39.99 a month, plus free installation. Call 877-40-CABLE.
Jay Holmes and Sandy Castablanco, today at 5 on NBC 11.
Looking for a target.
Ambush makeover.
Today is your lucky day. She's coming with me.
6 style agents.
There's a little bit of a root situation going on.
Unsuspecting targets ambushed on the street.
I have to go save this woman.
Or set up by friends.
She set me up.
She absolutely did set you up.
There's no escaping.
I'm gonna make her the hottest 8th grade teacher out here.
Watch out, America.
Panty lines.
You saw her nails.
Oh!
You might be next.
Oh my God, I love it.
Ambush makeover.